Hey you guys, welcome back to another episode of Fat Camp Artwork with Sean Reisner. And I thought today we would work a little bit on our barn picture that we started a long time ago. And we would fill in kind of that big background tree and the barn in front of it. Maybe we'll kind of progress on the barn a little more today. You know, whatever happens, happens. So with that being said, why don't we just go ahead and jump right into it? If you guys are ready, you know what I say. Let's do this. All right, here we are. I got my barn picture set up. Now, I'm going to go through some of the colors and the brushes I'm going to use on this here. On my palette, I got paint running. I got some bright red, they call it permanent red, and some sap green, some Van Dyke brown, some midnight black, some white, and ochre, yellow ochre of sorts. Here I got a sable brush that is pretty much destroyed now. It has really frayed ends on it. It works really good for bushes and tree clumps and things like that. I have an angle brush. I got a different angle brush. It's stained purple. This will probably be used for painting the peak of the barn and defining some edges, things like that. Okay, first things first, I'm going to start with that small mutilated sable brush. And I'm going to mix up some green, a big portion of black, and a bunch of brown. And you can just be real whatever. Basically what we're looking for here is a dark base color for our tree. I might put a little bit of white to it maybe, just a little bit. There we go, I kind of like that better. Maybe a little of the yellow, what the heck. Okay, we kind of got ourselves a muddy, blackish, greenish, brown, gray. What do you call something like that?
Tree bark.
All I'm doing, something like that. I'm just going to dip it straight down in the paint. That just puts the paint right on the tips. Now this is the area that we're going to be focusing on that I have kind of left open. But I'm going to start from the middle using a firmer pressure. This in here, this I don't care about. Okay, I hope. So we can just kind of, because you know, usually leaf textures and things like that are more fuller from the inside, and then they work their way out. So here we're just kind of mixing up some color. And think about shape, the shape of your tree. And then when we work our way to the edge more, there you kind of see that feathered effect that I'm getting. You want to be able to sort of see through the trees. Now, okay, that's where my tree is going to go behind the barn. Okay, you see those effects? Just smear some color in that for right now. Just get some dark color. You can kind of vary your colors around even too. See here, I got a little more black. It looks like a little more shadow area. Basically, I'm just blocking in this color. Not too concerned about the shape inside yet. So I'm just going to block in the color. And there, well, that's pretty good. Okay. There we go. Now we're getting some nice shape. Now I want another clump to be kind of projecting right there. And you can just kind of go back through every once in a while and just touch some tops. Think about clumps of leaves hanging out. I think for the most part, I think I'm just going to leave that one just kind of like that. Just add a few little things here and there. Little background shapes and shadows. Okay. I think I'm going to leave that alone. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my angle brush and I'm going to put some black and some brown into the bristles. Just pull them through and both sides. Give you a nice sharp edge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to define the roof line on this barn. So I'm going to start right here because I can see the tippy top right there. Now keep in mind, it's an old barn. So the more crooks and defects it has, the better off it's going to look. And what I'm painting right here is just the back side of the eave on the roof. And I like this angle brush because I have a little more control of where I'm putting the peaks and the highlight parts, the shadows, etc. There, kind of see how that looks defined there? Again, a little more paint. And we're going to keep on going. We're going to put some black and some brown. Just load the brush the same way. And we're going to pull, I think I'm going to paint in the top of the roof here. I got to remember how we had this thing. Load the brush again, some more black, some more brown. And we'll, perfect, look at that, lined right up. So even though your day might be a little crazy and chaotic and whatever, you'll know once those peaks line up, you're on the right path. Now that we have that space in there, we'll just go ahead and fill in this roof. Being very careful to stay within the guidelines. Here we're just blocking in color. We're not too worried about anything else. There we go. So there's our roof. Now I'm going to wipe off my brush just on a piece of that blue shop towel. I'm going to go into some solid black. I'm going to go right into some solid black. Load the brush the same way as before. And I want this one real dark because I'm going to fill in the shadow right here underneath the roof. So it looks like the top of it is so it looks like the top of the roof is sticking out from the top of the barn. Keep in mind when we keep going here, this shadow is not going to be real definite and defined. It's going to be kind of diffused and kind of lost in the rest of the color. But I want it in there as my guideline. I'm going to fill in this door. Why not? We got the black going, it's working well. If you notice, I'm not really respecting that space where the ground is going to be because I'm going to put that over top that color anyway. So you can go down, it's not going to hurt a thing because you're going to cover it up anyway. All right, I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll just take and straighten that top just a little more. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Now it's starting to look like a barn. This is going to be a red barn. We're from Iowa, so we got a whole slew of red barns around here. But I'm going to start with an undercoat. And you're going to probably look at me and think, oh, you're kind of nuts. But I'm going to use a kind of a gray-brown. And I'll tell you why. Because a lot of the barns that we have here are extremely old. They're very weathered. A lot of the times the paint's peeling off. So that's what I'm trying to replicate here in this one is the paint underneath the barn. And then when I go to actually paint the barn, I will paint the red over top and allow some of the brown and the gray colors to show through. And it'll look like some of the wood is peeling on the red. So same thing, we're just blocking in color. It's no big deal. You can draw a little smiley face. It doesn't matter at this point because a lot of it's going to be covered up. We just need a base to paint on top of. This is sort of the paint gesso layer, if you will. The paint version of a gesso. Like I said, we're not really concerned with a whole lot yet. We can vary our colors back and forth because the variance is going to look very natural. And I'm just taking it and just kind of mushing it. I don't know, that's what you want to call it, but I'm mushing it into the brush. And sometimes you can even just take solid dark color and just hit it. And see that variance you're getting now? It's going to look kind of dirty. But once we get the rest of it defined, we're going to clean it up. All those textures. Oh God, looks like a mess, don't it? I hope I didn't do something to this. Yeah, so I'll see you soon. We'll have to fix it. And I think, in my mind, let me just do this. Let me just fill this little spot right here. Wipe the brush out. I'm going to load up some black on just the tips of the bristles. Same thing, just kind of right down and drag it across. That loads it just on the tips. And I want to put a line. Doesn't have to be perfect. Because remember, this is an old barn. And here in Iowa, our old barns are pretty tough. And I'll just kind of redefine this just because it bugs me. And let's take, I'm going to just take that brown color and mix a big pile of white into it just to kind of give it a light gray. Now let's just take and block this in. This that will end up being our door, our sliding galvanized metal door. Again, I don't really respect the edges too much just yet because everything will cover it. So everything down here don't matter. I think I put a door here, I think, if I remember correctly. I think that's what that was supposed to be. So let me just fill that in. Wipe out some of the white. We'll load up some more of that black. We'll just kind of, there we go. And you can even drag in some of this this black in here if you wanted to. We don't really, doesn't really matter too much. You can, all these little things, like I said, they're going to be covered. Okay, there we are. Like I said, it doesn't look like much yet. When we start painting on top, you'll understand it. Back here, I'm going to add some brown and a little black. And I'm going to add just a hint of white into it. Oh, I don't know. Just something to kind of indicate a shadow. We want it to be a little darker. Okay, we want a little darker than that. So let's put some black into it. And don't be afraid to change your colors. You can spend 20 minutes mixing paint. There, that's better. Now this will represent the shadow side. Now you'll notice where our peak line is, I come in a little bit on this side of it because the edge of the roof is going to come over a ways, and then it's just like a perspective thing. We can go back and even adjust that roof when we're done too. That will be just fine. And for the fun part, let's just, I thought on this one I'd do something kind of different. I thought I'd add a a rock base on one side. I don't do things like that too often typically, but and we'll just fill in that color. We're just kind of looking to stain the canvas right now. It's all just a base. Okay. There we are, and there's our, okay, there we are. I think for right now, so what'd you guys think? A little bit longer video. I think with this one, what I'm going to do is upload this one as a full-length video, and then I think I will do a time-lapse video in case you don't want to spend the full 20 whatever minutes watching the whole thing, if that's your preference. Be on the lookout for that as well. I think next time we'll focus more on blocking in our colors and defining our shapes a little more. A lot of what I do is nothing but base coats and then top coats. Base coats, top coats. So it seems a little redundant, but it's all in the process. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll catch you again next time. And God bless, take care, and we'll see you then. Until then, you know what we say, fat camp all up in your face. Let's get it.